Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. It's a bit late on Sunday night, but we are apparently just getting started because there are some unusual things happening and going to try and cover as much as I can before I fall asleep, although I took a nap this afternoon and have an update coming about the Perth Mint shortly after this one. So we're going to keep this one short, but here you see a headline. Again, I've not seen, I don't know what is official these days. Here's another website reporting the same thing. It certainly fits with a lot of things that are happening. But Putin announces total independence from Rothschild-controlled US dollar. In a statement about the news, Putin said his country is finally free from the icy grip of the Rothschild banking cartel and the New World Order cabal. Certainly an interesting story to see at this particular point in time, especially obviously if you're watching this, you probably know that I've been covering the silver market. And again, I will continue to do the best I can to put it in the appropriate context. But at least in the time I've covered silver, which begins in 2009 and covered 2011, the run to 50. I mean, I guess I didn't realize back then that it was manipulated, but in terms of silver, at least since then, this is by far the highest alert. In fact, it's becoming harder for me to see how this doesn't get resolved in somewhat of a higher silver price, mainly as we'll touch on in a second, because there was a default, I would say is default in the SLV Silver Trust. But anyway, so to see this all happening at this same time, when you hear finally free from the icy grip of the Rothschild banking cartel and New World Order, I guess I'll put it like this. In the last 2 weeks, I've thought if you wanted to take down a deep state mafia, how would you do it? Would probably be through the financing. I mean, a mafia usually don't want to, at least, I don't know. I've never been in a mafia or duked it out, but at least from what I understand in the movies, it's you don't go head on with guns. Instead, maybe take out the financing. And if you really wanted to take out the financing, where has this system always been incredibly vulnerable is in the silver market. So however these things are connecting, I wouldn't claim to know at the moment, but stunning to see what's happening in silver and then to see this headline. So we'll go through a couple quick highlights. Unburdening of Russia's economy. And partly we used to behave naively, but now we see that the WTO rules are all too often broken. Restrictions imposed for political reasons, which they call sanctions. I do think there's a lot of truth to that. And Putin says he's freed Russia from dependence on the US dollar. Not your everyday statement. And they said we could not do it. They said we would be destroyed. Our future generations will be born without Rothschild's chains around their wrists and ankles. This is the best present we can provide. And another reason that this caught my attention, here you go. Greatest tradition that can be passed on to your kids and grandchildren is not cash or other material things built up in life. However, rather a tradition of liberty from enslavement. Putin declares Russia to be finally free from the icy grip of Lord Jacob Rothschild. By making the last payment on the Soviet Republic debt to the world's central banks, making Russia the first nation to set itself totally free from the oppressive grip of the New World Order banking system, Putin has actually made sure future generations of Russia will not live in financial obligation slavery to the globalist cabal. So anyway, you can Google this. I did not have any special source, but I Googled it. Again, here's another one. And as I was starting to mention before, part of why it caught my eye is because I'd actually seen this video before. Because here, this is an article I wrote July 25th, 2018. It was interesting because in researching this, I saw the comments that Putin had made. I believe it was right after his re-election, which we'll show you here. And just keep in mind that this was after his re-election, And by the time I was watching this, that was after Russia had just dumped their treasuries and reportedly have allocated into gold when he makes the statements that you're about to see here. You know, you wonder what they're sitting there thinking about gold and silver.
Я в принципе согласен. Ведь это не просто отрыв от доллара, это просто речь идет о необходимости повышения нашего экономического суверенитета. И это абсолютно правильно. Мы за предыдущие десятилетия в надежде на то, что будут соблюдаться заявленные принципы в области мировой торговли, мировой экономики, мы как бы вели себя несколько наивно. А теперь мы видим, что и правила ВТО сплошь и рядом нарушаются. Ограничения идут по политическим соображениям, которые называют санкции.
So you can get the idea of what he's saying there, because the whole world sees the dollar monopoly is unreliable. It's dangerous for many, not only for us. Again, he said this and then took action on it. This was May 9th. And then you see, here I am writing about it July 25th after they had sold treasuries. So I won't suggest what to make of this, but again, catches my eye that I'm seeing it on the same day that Myanmar tanks roll into cities as internet shuts down. I mean, a lot of the things that people in the silver or prepper community have talked about for a long time, a lot of things happening now. Again, we'll have a video on this later tonight, mentioned in a couple previous videos, that I would say it's safe. It seems like what I would call a default in the trust, because after a sequence of events that I've gone through and will be making a more clear outline of so people can understand it as best as I know how to lay it out. But basically you had the Wall Street bets start the short squeeze in GameStop. Then the attention focused to silver. Then you had that big weekend 2 weekends ago. A lot of buying in the retail market, which spread into the ETFs, and stunning sequence of events since then. And on a day where 5% of the market was reportedly added into SLV, the price came down 10%. A lot of suspicious events around that. Again, you can go back and watch some of the other videos in the channel where we've covered that. But what was stunning is that Ronan Manley of Bullion Star, wow, I mean, geez, I know that some people worship some of today's political heroes, but someone I think in due time will be recognized as a true hero, not a patriot to any country, but just someone that has done some incredible research, because he found that the day after that event, where there's a lot of suspicious things, a lot of coincidences, found that SLV changed the prospectus. Let's see if we can find a quick quote of what the phrasing, but basically changed. Here you go. After the market declined 10% in a day in the face of panic buying that has now spread to the wholesale market, day after that, SLV, the demand for silver may temporarily exceed available supply that is acceptable for delivery to the trust. I'm not going to dig into this now because I'm going to make a little video shortly to lay that out clearly, but SLV didn't mention this. And here's another thing to think about. When Jeff Curry of Goldman Sachs went on TV, at least that video is dated Friday or Thursday, February 4th. And he confirmed that the ETFs are for some reason shorting COMEX futures. He's an authorized participant. How come he didn't mention this? In fact, he told us there was no cause for concern. That's the head of commodities for Goldman Sachs, authorized participant of this, and he left that out when he went on camera on February 4th. So then in case you wanted to top something onto that, Ronan did a great job earlier last week reporting how JP Morgan isn't just the custodian of the SLV trust. They're the custodian of most of the other silver trusts too. And here we find that the other ones changed their prospectus too. at the same time. And the CFTC, who said they were on watch for fraud in the market, is investigating the Reddit traders, where here you see announcements slipped into a prospectus that someone from Bullion Star has to find. I looked on the iShares site. I couldn't find it. I'm not saying it's not on there, but I'm not clear why Jeff Curry didn't mention that when he did his interview the day after that. But anyway, we'll get that on the record so at least people know if you see silver prices falling unexpectedly, if you've seen behavior that seems criminal over the past decade, you're not imagining it. And at least until that crime has been stopped, I will be dedicated to laying out what I am seeing as clearly as possible. I don't claim to know all the answers, but I will give you my genuine integrity and honest best information. With that said, we'll have an update about the Perth Mint coming up in about 15 minutes. And who knows what'll happen before the end of the night. So thanks again for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you again shortly.